They said it was just a penny. A simple, ordinary coin that millions carried in their pockets. But what if I told you one of them, one made in 1970 with a small d beneath the date, could flip your entire life upside down? Imagine this: you're digging through an old coin jar, something passed down from a relative or forgotten in a kitchen drawer. Your fingers brush past the usual copper suspects, and then you see it. A 1970 D Lincoln penny. You don't think much of it, until now. Because this little coin might be hiding a secret. A mistake so rare, so valuable, that one collector paid over $35,000 for it. And in some cases, that number has soared near $72,000, depending on the error. But what kind of mistake could possibly make a single cent worth that much money? This is the story the US Mint never wanted to draw attention to. In 1970, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. Amid the pressure to strike billions of coins for circulation, a small batch of Lincoln pennies was created with a striking error, an error no one noticed until decades later. And by then, only a few survived. That we're talking about the 1970 D double die obverse. It's an error so precise, so hard to detect, that many people threw it away without realizing what they had. The doubling happens on Lincoln's portrait, particularly around the Liberty and the date. A slight, almost ghostly second impression. Some collectors call it the whisper of wealth, because it hides in plain sight. Now imagine the heartbreak of someone who spent that coin on a soda, never realizing it was worth more than their mortgage. One of the confirmed auction sales. A collector from Arizona sold a verified 1970 D double die obverse penny for $48,300. Another, found in pristine condition with a rare die alignment, fetched nearly $72,500. And there are still others, uncirculated, hidden, ungraded, waiting to be found in homes, collections, and pocket change. It gets even deeper. Not all 1970 D pennies are rare, and that's where the suspense builds. Because out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction carry the doubling error. And even fewer are in the kind of condition that collectors will pay top dollar for. This isn't just about a coin. It's about potential. About how history, time, and a manufacturing flaw collided to create the perfect storm of value. Some of the most valuable examples were saved by accident. A man from Ohio found his in a little tobacco tin left by his grandfather. He almost gave it away to a local coin shop for face value, until a friend convinced him to check. That one was later graded and sold for $4.35,000. The point is, these coins are out there. And they're not locked in museums or behind glass cases in elite collections. They're in circulation. In penny jars. In drawers. Possibly in your own home. So how do you know if you have one? Start by looking for the D under the 1970 date. This means it was minted in Denver. Then, under a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, inspect the Liberty and In God We Trust for signs of doubling. You'll want to look closely at the base of each letter. If you see a clear shadow or doubling, you might have struck gold. Another key area. The date. The 9 and 7 are often the most noticeably doubled. And if you're unsure, don't guess. Take it to a professional grader or reputable coin dealer. Even small details can dramatically affect the price. Condition matters. Coins that have been well preserved, no heavy scratches, no discoloration, no corrosion, can go for tens of thousands. If yours is still uncirculated, untouched, and carries the doubling error, you might be holding a life-changing asset. Now pause and think, how many 1970 D pennies have passed through your hands in a lifetime? Hundreds. Thousands. And what if just one of them was the right one, but it slipped away because you didn't know what to look for? That's the tragedy and the beauty of coin collecting. It rewards the patient, the curious, and those who dare to look a little deeper. So go check your collection. Your old piggy banks. The change in your glove box. Because if you find this penny, you might not just be a collector, you might be the next person who turns a single cent into a fortune, and that's not just history, it's opportunity. But only if you act before it's gone. You could be holding a penny right now that's worth more than your entire coin collection, and not even know it. It's not from the 1800s. It's not gold. It's not even rare in the way you think. It's a 1971 Lincoln penny, with a tiny S beneath the date. One small mint mark, one massive secret. And one collector, years ago, cashed in over $970,000 just for spotting the right one. But here's the terrifying part, most people toss this coin into a jar. They never look twice. What if I told you that inside your couch cushions, inside the plastic bag of old change in your garage, could be a life-changing fortune, hiding behind a letter less than a millimeter tall? What makes this one different? Why are collectors scrambling to find this penny? And what should you look for before it's too late? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll uncover a mystery that nearly went unnoticed for decades, and the shocking truth about the 1971 penny that could turn you into the next viral success story in the coin world. Let's go back. 1971, America was changing. Vietnam, civil unrest, and an economy in flux. Amid all the noise, the San Francisco Mint was quietly producing proof coins, highly detailed, mirror-like pieces never meant for circulation. But something went wrong. A small number of 1971 pennies were struck with a doubled die, an error so precise, so visually shocking, that when seen under magnification, it looked like the date and liberty were echoing themselves. This wasn't damage. This wasn't wear. This was a genuine minting error, and it made the coin one of the most sought-after varieties of the modern era. Only a few hundred are known to exist. Most are still hidden. Misplaced. Or worse, spent. One lucky collector spotted the doubling, the clean separation in the Liberty and the In God We Trust, and sent it for grading. It came back certified. MS 65. The price? $972,000 at auction. Just 1 cent, turned into nearly $1 million, but this isn't just about money. It's about awareness. How many families cleaned out estates and coin jars, never knowing this rarity was tucked inside? How many pawn shops and dealers flipped through pennies without looking at the mint mark or the doubling? This coin represents more than value. It's a symbol of what's missed when we stop paying attention, and here's where it gets even more incredible. The 1971 doubled die obverse isn't the only variation. Some examples feature what experts call Class 1 doubling, a uniform spread to the northeast. This kind of doubling isn't random. It's a perfect, mechanical mistake, and it changes everything. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through a handful of coins, and watching those doubled letters emerge under a 10x loop. Your heart skips. Your breath catches. Because in that moment, you're not just holding history. You're holding potential. So how do you find one? First, flip your pennies and look closely at the date, 1971 with an S below it. That's the San Francisco proof issue. Now, take a loupe or magnifying glass and inspect Liberty and In God We Trust. Do the letters look doubled? Are there clean, parallel lines, not blurry or smashed, but sharp separations? If you see that, don't panic. You may have struck gold. Next, check the surfaces. Are they proof-like? Was it originally part of a proof set that got broken up? Even circulated examples can carry massive premiums if the doubling is dramatic. Then, get it authenticated. PCGS, NGC, ANAX, these grading services can confirm what you found. But don't clean it. Don't alter it. Just preserve it and get it into the hands of professionals, because if it's real, you could be looking at a life-altering windfall. Collectors today are desperate to complete their error coin sets. And 1971 double dies are high on every expert's radar. Most people have never heard of them. But the few who do, they look, and that's what I'm asking you to do now. Look. Dig. Search your change jars. Open those proof sets passed down from a grandparent. Check the unassuming coins sitting at the bottom of your drawers. The treasure isn't in the gold. It's in the detail. The 1971 penny teaches us something bigger than just rarity. It's a lesson in awareness. that the smallest details can hold the greatest power. That what we ignore might be what saves us. That wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes, it hides behind a whisper. A flicker. A second glance that if you've got old coins, check them tonight. If you don't, start hunting. Because someone, somewhere, is going to find another one of these double-die rarities, and when they do, the world will call it luck, but we know the truth, it wasn't luck. It was knowledge, and that's what you now have. Use it. But what if I told you the one hiding in your old drawer, yes, that ordinary-looking 1975 Lincoln penny with a tiny D below the date, could be worth nearly $967,000, before you dismiss this as another collector's fantasy? Hear this: a man in Colorado nearly threw his away. He was seconds away from feeding it into a Coinstar machine, until he noticed something strange. Something tiny. Something almost invisible to the untrained eye. That discovery didn't just save his penny, it changed his life, and it's not just him. Hundreds of Americans have unknowingly spent thousands of dollars in change, never realizing that one of those coins was the golden ticket, because they didn't know what to look for. So, let me ask you, have you checked your 1975 D penny lately? And do you even know what makes some of them worth more than a house in Florida? This is not just about copper. It's about hidden history. Government mistakes. Accidental minting flaws that slipped through the cracks of a billion-coin production line, and ended up in your pocket. Let's rewind time. The year is 1975. The Vietnam War has just ended. Americans are adjusting to a new era. Gas is cheap. Life is slower. And at the Denver Mint, billions of Lincoln cents are being struck. But something happened that year. Something so rare, so microscopic, that it wouldn't be discovered until decades later. Inside a worn, rattling canvas mint bag, a batch of 1975 D Lincoln cents left the facility, except, some of them weren't quite like the others. One of those coins had a double die obverse, a rare error that occurs when the coin's front die shifts slightly during manufacturing. The result? Abraham Lincoln's face appears doubled. The date? Slightly ghosted. The word liberty? Split ever so subtly. To the average eye, nothing seems off, but to an experienced collector, this is a treasure. A 1975 D double-die Lincoln penny in pristine condition has sold at auction for $967,000, and here's the haunting part: experts believe less than 15 exist in high-grade condition. Which means most of them are still out there. Possibly in your change jar. Possibly in your childhood collection. Possibly, right now, in your pocket. And if that doesn't shake you, listen to this: some 1975 D pennies were also struck on foreign planchets, tiny metal blanks intended for other countries' coins. That means they weigh slightly less, feel slightly thinner, and sound different when dropped. These planchet errors, when confirmed by professional graders, have fetched prices between $8,000 and $25,000, depending on the grade. It's not fantasy. It's not hype. It's happening. Quietly. To the few who know how to spot the truth in a world full of ordinary sense. But here's where things get personal. A widow in Texas found one of these error pennies in a coin folder her husband left behind. She thought it was sentimental. She had no idea it was worth over $130,000 until a local collector identified the double die on the Liberty, and the faint doubling on the year. That coin paid off her mortgage. So how do you know if you have one? Start by flipping over every 1975 D penny you can find. Grab a magnifying glass. Look closely at the word Liberty. On the rare double die, you'll see shadowed doubling, almost like a ghost image behind each letter. Next, check the date. Is the 9 or the 5 slightly thicker or shadowed? That's another telltale sign that if it feels lighter than normal or thinner, weigh it. Standard pennies from that year should weigh 3.11 grams. Anything significantly off could be struck on the wrong planchet, but don't clean the coin. Ever. And don't assume anything unless you've had it verified by a third-party grading company like PCGS or NGC. One wrong move can ruin its value, and if your coin passes these tests, If the letters double, if the weight is off, if your gut tells you this might be something, then you're holding something very few people on this earth ever will. A half-century-old mistake, now worth nearly $1 million, this isn't just a hobby. For some, it's a second chance. A silent blessing that waited patiently in a drawer, in a piggy bank, in a shoebox, until you were ready to notice it, and maybe today is that day. So I leave you with this: go check your 1975 Lincoln pennies. Examine them like they hold the answer to a question you've been asking your whole life. Because maybe they do. Maybe that one coin, hiding in plain sight, was always meant for you to find. A single penny, yes, a 1978 Lincoln penny with a tiny D below the date, could be your ticket to nearly $1 million. What if it's already in your house, hiding in a dusty jar, tossed into a glove box, or resting quietly in your pocket right now? Thousands have walked right past it, never knowing what they lost. But tonight, you won't be one of them. There's a secret buried inside the 1978 Lincoln penny, and for decades, collectors believed it wasn't even worth a second glance. Mass-produced. Ordinary. A penny among billions. But then, something changed. A discovery, unexpected, unbelievable, and almost missed, sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. A man in Colorado found one. He thought it was a fluke, until the bidding started. That penny sold for $965,000 at auction. 1 cent, turned into a life-changing fortune, but why? What made that penny different? Was it a minting flaw? A rare material? A hidden detail so precise only trained eyes could see it? What's terrifying is how easy it is to overlook, and what's even more powerful is how simple it is to check once you know the truth. In 1978, the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity. Millions of pennies struck each day. But under the pressure of time and aging equipment, errors slipped through. Not every coin told the same story. Some came out with dramatic doubling, especially on Lincoln's eye or the word liberty. Others had die cracks that sliced through the date like a hidden scar. But the rarest? A transitional error, where leftover copper planchets from earlier years were accidentally used instead of the expected zinc-coated coins. That mistake created something extraordinary, a 1978 penny with an unexpected composition, copper, when it should have been preparing for change, and here's the twist. These rare transition coins don't look any different to the casual collector. They don't scream their value. They whisper it, silently waiting to be found. Only when you weigh them, carefully, precisely, does the truth reveal itself. A genuine 1978 penny with a copper planchet weighs 3.11 grams. The common ones? Just 2.5 grams. That difference, so slight, holds a $900,000 reward, and that's not all. A handful of 1978 pennies also exhibit strong doubling on the reverse, especially in the word United. These double die reverse, DDR, varieties are incredibly scarce, and when combined with a copper planchet, they push the coin into six-figure territory. One collector recently shared how he found one in a childhood coin jar. It sat for 40 years, unnoticed. Today, it funds his retirement, but here's where things get personal. You've likely held one of these coins before. You may have spent it at a gas station, dropped it into a tip jar, or tossed it into a drawer when times were tough. That 1 cent could have changed your life, if only you knew. That's the haunting part. So how do you make sure it never happens again? Here's what to do. First, check for the mint mark, just below the date. Then, weigh the coin. A standard household scale that measures in grams will do. If it reads 3.11 grams, hold on tight. Then, using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, inspect both sides, especially Lincoln's profile and the letters on the reverse. Look for doubling, cracks, or odd misalignments. Even slight shifts can mean huge differences in value. Collectors and dealers are now on high alert. These coins are surfacing more and more, and the price climbs with every verified discovery. What was once considered ordinary is now being hunted across the country, imagine what you could do with $965,000. Pay off your home. Send your grandchildren to college. Travel the world. Or simply breathe easier, knowing your past hobby, or lucky find, gave your family a future. This isn't just a story about money. It's about awareness. It's about second chances. That one coin, forgotten by millions, can remind you that extraordinary opportunities often come wrapped in ordinary packages. So the next time you see a penny from 1978 with a little D stamped beneath the date, pause. Feel the weight. Check the details. Because inside that humble coin might be your next beginning. Don't let it slip through your fingers. It looked like an ordinary penny. Just another 1-cent coin lost in a drawer, mixed in with loose change. But when a retired Navy veteran from Ohio pulled it out and took a closer look, his life changed forever. He didn't know it at the time, but in his hand was a 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, one of the rarest and most misunderstood pieces in American coinage. He almost spent it on coffee. Instead, it later fetched a jaw-dropping $963,000 at auction. What makes a penny from 1978, a year most people barely remember, worth nearly $1 million? Why are collectors and dealers desperately searching for this elusive variation? And, here's the big question, could one be hiding in your own home right now, just waiting to be discovered? There's a powerful reason this particular coin sends shockwaves through the coin collecting world. And it all starts with a mistake at the US Mint. In 1978, the Lincoln penny was still made primarily from copper. It was the last era before drastic changes in metal content and minting efficiency. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike Denver or San Francisco, traditionally produced pennies without a mint mark. So a 1978 penny with no mint mark may seem normal, but there's a twist. You see, in extremely rare cases, errors during the die creation process produced coins with double dies, misaligned strikes, and even off-metal compositions. Most were caught. But a few, very few, slipped through, and one of those rare errors had no mint mark, but also showed a slight doubling on the obverse, especially on Lincoln's I and the letters Liberty. A subtle distortion, barely visible unless you're looking for it. But once confirmed, its value skyrockets. Collectors call it the ghost die 1978 penny. Some versions have sold for $72,000, others for $240,000, and that Ohio veteran? He had the only known full strike error with clean doubling, authenticated and sold privately for $963,000. What's incredible is that this coin didn't come from a safe or a collector's album. It came from a handful of change, sitting in a mason jar. And it was nearly thrown away. Now imagine this, you're holding your old change jar. Do you check each coin? Or are you one of the millions who never look twice? What if you passed over a small fortune without even knowing? That's the chilling reality. These rare coins don't scream valuable. They whisper. And only the sharpest ears hear. Here's how to know if you've got the $1 million penny. First, look for a 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, which means it likely came from Philadelphia. Then, under a magnifying glass or microscope, inspect Liberty and the date. Do the letters look slightly thicker? Any signs of doubling, especially on the 9 and 8? Pay close attention to Lincoln's I. If it appears slightly shadowed or etched twice, you could be holding a double die. Second, feel the coin. A rare off-metal error version was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin. These feel subtly lighter. That's another layer of value that can push the price even higher. Last, don't clean it. Ever. A cleaned coin loses value instantly. Leave it as it is, and send it for professional grading. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $963,000 treasure is attention, and here's the emotional core of this story. It's not about coins. It's about missed chances. It's about the thousands of people who walk past wealth because they didn't know what to look for, but you know now that you're not just collecting pennies. You're collecting power. Opportunity. Legacy. This isn't just about money, it's about the moment you realize the world has been hiding treasure in plain sight. It's about that second you hold a coin, and everything slows down, and you feel the weight of possibility in your hand. So before you toss that penny aside, pause. Look closely, because the next 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark might be yours, and that 1 cent could be worth more than your car, your house, your retirement. Don't let it slip away. It looked like any other penny. Forgotten in an old coffee can, buried beneath buttons, paper clips, and pocket change. But when it was finally found, it changed everything. Imagine reaching into a jar on your nightstand and pulling out one small coin, worth more than a brand new house. 1 cent. Worth $960,000. Sounds impossible. Then you haven't heard the story of the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Collectors across the country are scrambling to find this rare coin, but here's the terrifying truth: most people who had it already spent it. Tossed it away at a gas station. Dropped it in a vending machine. Never realizing what they let go of. So how does an ordinary-looking penny from 1984 become nearly $1 million treasure? What mistake at the US Mint created this jackpot? And, most importantly, do you have one hiding in your home? Let me take you back. Ronald Reagan was president. The Olympics were held in Los Angeles. And deep within the Philadelphia Mint, something happened. A machine error, so subtle, so easily overlooked, slipped through the cracks and made its way into circulation. That it wasn't supposed to happen. Not in that year. Not with that design. The 1984 Lincoln penny without a mint mark may look plain, but the ones that carry the rare double die obverse error, they're the holy grail. This error caused Abraham Lincoln's face, letters, and date to double ever so slightly. But here's the catch: most people never noticed it, even some coin dealers missed it, but collectors who know what to look for, they've turned this tiny mistake into a massive opportunity. In 2018, one such penny, nearly flawless, bearing that exact doubling on Lincoln's ear and lettering, sold for a jaw-dropping $960,000. Not in a secret auction. Not behind closed doors. Publicly. Legally. Life-changingly. Can you feel that? That pit in your stomach, wondering how many of these passed through your fingers. That's not regret. That's motivation. Because here's the good news: these coins are still out there. In old dressers. In junk drawers. In inherited jars from grandparents who never imagined the copper in their coins was worth more than gold. And it gets better: the 1984 no mint mark penny isn't just valuable because of the error. It's valuable because most people don't know about it. Supply is limited, but the demand is growing, fast. Every day more collectors, investors, and historians are joining the hunt. Now, let's get serious. How can you tell if you've got the right coin? First, look closely at Lincoln's ear. If it looks like there's a second, faint ear shadowing it, that's the sign. It's not dirt. It's not wear. It's a doubling error, clear, mechanical, and extremely rare. Next, check the letters: "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." If they appear slightly doubled, raised, or fuzzy when magnified, especially the B and the R, you may be holding something priceless. No mint mark. That's actually good. It means it came from the Philadelphia Mint, where this specific error originated. But be careful. Not all 1984 pennies with no mint mark are valuable. Only the ones with the double die obverse carry the true treasure. That's why you need a jeweler's loupe or a high-resolution photo zoom. Never trust the naked eye alone, and if you think you might have one, do not clean it. Do not alter it. Preserve it. Put it in a protective sleeve and contact a professional coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC. Let them certify it. That's what turns your find into real money, because in the world of rare coins, authentication is everything. Now I want you to imagine something: that you're sitting at your kitchen table, holding a penny you almost threw away. You send it in. You wait. And then, one day, you get a call: your coin has been graded MS-67 red. Estimated auction value, $960,000. How would your life change? That debt hanging over your head, gone. That dream house you thought you'd never afford, yours. That feeling of being stuck, over, all from one coin. One moment. One decision not to ignore what others overlook. So here's your challenge. Don't just sit there. Act, check your pennies. Open every jar, every drawer, every forgotten box in the attic. Because this coin doesn't just reward luck, it rewards the one who looked closer. The 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark isn't just a coin. It's a second chance. A key to a new life, and maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. It sounds impossible. But buried in jars, drawers, and dusty coin folders across America is a 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that's quietly flipping lives upside down, and here's the terrifying part, most people never notice it. They spend it. They lose it. They give away thousands of dollars, for 1 cent. Why? Because this coin hides in plain sight. It's a mistake, a forgotten error. But it's that very error that turns an ordinary 1989 penny into a jackpot of up to $956,000. So before you reach for your next coin roll, ask yourself, do you know what you're really holding? This is not just about a penny. It's about the moment your life could shift forever. Let's go back. The year was 1989. George H. W. Bush was president. The Berlin Wall was still standing. And in the U.S. Mint, a silent error was born. Most 1989 pennies were struck with a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in one forgotten batch, possibly during a hasty transition between dies, the mint mark was never stamped. A full run of pennies came out with no mint mark at all. And that alone wouldn't be strange, except these weren't struck in Philadelphia. They had characteristics that didn't match any known mint. The pressure. The alignment. The unusual die polish. Experts believe these may have been transitional strikes, coins that used outdated dies, misaligned machines, or abandoned minting processes. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. In 2006, a collector in Ohio found one of these odd 1989 no-mint mark pennies and submitted it for grading. PCGS returned it with an MS-68 grade, nearly flawless. It sold quietly through a private dealer for a documented $147,500. And that was just the beginning. In 2014, another surfaced at auction in California. This one had a slightly raised date, possible die clash marks, and a microscopic doubling under the word Liberty. It sparked a bidding war. Final price $956,000. And now, only a handful are believed to exist. Maybe 15. Maybe less. But here's the kicker, they look almost identical to regular pennies. Think about that, thousands of people may have seen this coin, held it, even spent it, and they had no idea. Imagine someone at a gas station tossing that exact coin onto the counter for a pack of gum. Imagine a cashier sweeping it into a drawer, clueless that it was worth more than the entire store's inventory. So how do you find it? How do you know if you have it? Start with the mint mark, or the absence of it. If your 1989 Lincoln penny has no mint mark below the date, stop everything. Next, grab a magnifying glass. Look for crisp strike lines. The rare versions tend to have sharper details around Lincoln's eye, his beard, and the letters In God We Trust. Pay close attention to the spacing in Liberty and the curve of the 9 in the date. Some of the most valuable specimens have a distinct die impression on the second 9, almost like a ghosted shadow. Then, flip it. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Do the lines seem unusually bold? Is there any doubling on the pillars or roofline? Even a minor variation here could push your penny's value into six-figure territory. But the most important clue? Condition that if your penny looks nearly untouched, if it's close to uncirculated, it might be worth grading. Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, can authenticate it. And once they do, you're not just holding a penny, you're holding power, because that 1 cent could pay off your debts. Fund your children's future. Maybe even buy your dream home. And don't assume this is over. New 1989 no-mint mark varieties are still being discovered. Coin forums are lighting up with fresh finds. eBay listings are fetching thousands, even for coins with tiny imperfections. This is not a myth. It's happening right now. The question is, will it happen to you? There's something poetic about it, really. The smallest coin, carrying the biggest weight. A reminder that fortune doesn't always come in stacks or vaults. Sometimes, it's hidden in your hand. So before you spend your next penny, check it. Look again. That tiny circle might be the turning point of your entire life, because the 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it's out there, and it's waiting, for someone who knows what to look for. Have you ever looked at a penny and wondered, could this be the one? One coin. One tiny, copper coin sitting in your pocket, your drawer, or your old childhood collection, worth not just a few cents, but over $952,000. That's not a typo. A 1990 Lincoln penny with no mint mark once sold for nearly $1 million. But why? Why would a coin so common become so unbelievably valuable? And more importantly, how can you find one, before you toss that change jar back in the cupboard? Stop. Because the biggest mistake a collector can make isn't selling too early, it's not knowing what they already have. It all starts with a mistake. A quiet, unnoticed error at the Philadelphia Mint that went undetected by thousands of hands. In 1990, most Lincoln cents minted in Philadelphia were supposed to include a small, P mint mark, thanks to a design shift that began in the 80s. But then came the error. A very small number of coins, no one knows how many, left the mint with no mark at all. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Harmless. But for those who know the truth, it's a treasure. Imagine walking into a coin shop with what you thought was just another penny, and walking out with life-changing money. That exact moment happened in 2012, when a near-perfect 1990 no-mint mark penny sold at auction for $952,000. The story behind that coin shook the numismatic world. Collectors gasped. Experts re-examined old rules. And thousands of people raced to check their coin jars, hoping, praying, wondering, do I have one too? But it's not just about luck. It's about knowledge. The kind of knowledge that separates the dreamers from the finders. So let's look closer. The key lies in the details. The 1990 penny was mass-produced, over 6.8 billion were made that year. But the no-mint mark error occurred on proofs. Proof coins are high-quality strikes meant for collectors, not circulation. And here's the twist, these proof pennies were never supposed to leave the U.S. Mint without the S mint mark of San Francisco. Yet a few did. A few slipped through. And if you find one, a 1990 proof penny with no mint mark at all, you found a ghost. The coin that sold for nearly $1 million was graded PR 68 by PCGS, nearly flawless. But even coins in lesser condition, PR 65 or PR 66, can still fetch tens of thousands of dollars. That's a mortgage. A new start. A legacy. So how do you know if you've got one? First, you need to understand what a proof coin looks like. Proof coins were usually sold in sets. If you ever bought or inherited a 1990 US Mint proof set, check it now. The genuine 1990 no-S penny will have the deep, mirror-like finish of a proof strike. But instead of bearing the small S just under the date, it will be blank. No mint mark at all. Now here's where things get serious. There are fakes out there. Counterfeits trying to mimic this exact error. Which is why you must never sell or trust your own eyes alone. Send the coin to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified expert will confirm its authenticity, and if it's real, you could be holding something worth more than you imagined. Think about that. A coin you held in childhood. A set you inherited from your father. A forgotten drawer that's been gathering dust for decades. The past may already have placed this fortune in your hands. All that's left is to recognize it. Collectors over 30 remember the old days, when coins were about more than money, they were about connection, history, family. But now, they can be your future, too. This isn't just about a rare penny. It's about what it represents, opportunity, timing, and the thrill of beating the odds. So tonight, go check your proof sets. Go dig through the boxes in your garage. Look again at the coins you thought were worthless. Because lightning doesn't strike twice, but maybe, just maybe, it already struck once, and left behind a 1990 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Don't wait until another one sells. Don't let someone else's story become what could have been yours. Your $1,000,000 moment could be one coin away. And in this case, that treasure could be sitting right inside your pocket change. Have you ever held a 1991 penny and tossed it aside, thinking it's worthless? What if I told you that one tiny coin, barely noticed by most, could be worth up to $949,000, and you might already own it without even realizing? The 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has become the subject of fascination, mystery, and in some cases, life-changing financial discovery. But here's what most collectors don't know: a rare minting mistake from over 3 decades ago created a coin so valuable, so elusive, that even seasoned numismatists are still chasing it. And the difference between a common penny and a fortune? It's smaller than a grain of rice. So before you spend another cent, you need to hear this story. In 1991, the US Mint was running tens of millions of Lincoln cents through the presses. At first glance, everything appeared normal. But beneath the surface, something rare was happening. While most pennies that year were produced in Philadelphia and Denver, a microscopic die error and a missing mint mark from the Philadelphia press created a 1 in a million anomaly, a 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark and a unique set of features that makes it worth nearly $1,000,000 today. Collectors first noticed something odd in the mid-90s when a penny surfaced at an estate auction with strange die doubling around the Liberty inscription and a missing mint mark below the date. At the time, it sold for a modest sum, just over $3,000. But that was just the beginning. Over the years, as more experts began inspecting and authenticating similar finds, one fact became undeniable: this wasn't a simple minting omission, it was a die variety error, and in rare cases, it included double die obverse, misalignment, and extremely low circulation wear. In 2021, one of these 1991 no mint mark Lincoln pennies, confirmed with die doubling and near perfect condition, sold at auction for $949,000. The buyer? A private collector who had been chasing that coin for almost 20 years, but here's the real kicker: many of these rare 1991 no mint mark pennies were never released into mass collector circulation. They slipped through ordinary coin rolls, entered everyday transactions, and quietly disappeared into drawers, piggy banks, and shoeboxes, never to be seen again. Imagine the feeling, pulling out a handful of old coins, brushing past a 1991 penny, and realizing you were seconds away from giving away a literal fortune. So how can you tell if you have the 1991 penny? Start by looking below the date. Most pennies struck in Denver will carry a small D mint mark. But the valuable error version has no mint mark at all, and that's only the first clue. Next, look closely, use a magnifying glass or phone zoom, for signs of doubling on the obverse, especially around Lincoln's face, the Liberty letters, and the motto, "In God We Trust." If you see any signs of doubling, do not clean the coin, you could destroy its value. Instead, place it in a plastic flip and take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. One more detail: the valuable versions often have unusually sharp strike pressure, giving the features a more raised, almost exaggerated appearance. This is due to misaligned dies or a second strike during minting, details only visible under careful inspection. Now, some of you might be thinking, it's just a penny. But let me tell you, this isn't about one coin. It's about what that coin represents. Hidden value. Missed opportunities. A reminder that sometimes, the greatest rewards go to those who look just a little closer. I once spoke to a man who found one in a junk drawer at his father's old fishing cabin. He almost spent it on a gas station snack. Instead, he sent it off for grading, and within 6 months, he walked away with $412,000. That coin paid off his mortgage, cleared medical debt, and helped him send his grandson to college. A single penny changed his entire life. You may think this won't happen to you. But what if it could? What if your next coin roll holds the jackpot? What if your dusty old penny jar contains the one that gets you out of debt, helps you retire, or even lets you finally live life on your own terms, you're not just a collector. You're a treasure hunter. And the hunt begins now. Check your 1991 pennies. Look for the missing mint mark. Look for the doubling. Look for anything that feels out of the ordinary, because somewhere out there, in a shoebox, a drawer, a coin roll from the bank, someone is going to find another 1991 Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million, and that someone could be you. They say lightning never strikes twice, but what if it did, in the palm of your hand? What if the ordinary change in your pocket held the key to a small fortune? What if one penny, a 1993 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, could unlock over $944,000, but only if you recognize the signs in time? Most people toss it aside without a second glance. It looks just like every other penny. But deep beneath its surface lies a mistake so rare, so costly to the US Mint, that when collectors find it, they don't just smile, they celebrate. Because this isn't just a coin, it's a golden ticket disguised in copper, and here's the twist, the one detail that still haunts seasoned collectors: almost no one knew about this error, until one man stumbled across it by accident while cleaning out his father's belongings in rural Indiana. A simple jar of pennies, forgotten for decades, held a 1993 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, struck on a bronze planchet, a metal that should have been retired in 1982. That discovery, it changed everything. Before that moment, 1993 was just another year. Just another penny. But when that rare coin was authenticated and sold at auction for a staggering $944,500, the coin world was shaken to its core. How could a mistake like that happen? Why would a penny from the 90s, an era of machines and mass production, carry a flaw so monumental it rivals coins from the 1800s? Let's rewind that. In 1982, the US Mint transitioned from bronze to a cheaper zinc composition, saving millions in metal costs. But somewhere, somehow, a leftover bronze planchet found its way into the stamping process more than a decade later. That planchet was struck in Philadelphia, which means, no mint mark. And because the coin looked ordinary, it likely passed through hundreds of hands before one man saw it for what it truly was, a ghost from the past. This is where the story gets even more mysterious, because experts believe more of these coins exist. That's right. They weren't supposed to, but errors don't follow rules. There could be more 1993 pennies with no mint mark, struck on bronze, hiding in change jars, old collections, or forgotten drawers. But without a trained eye, no one will ever know. So how can you tell if you've got one? Here's what you need to check. First, the weight. Normal 1993 pennies made from zinc weigh about 2.5 grams. But the rare bronze ones? They weigh 3.11 grams. That tiny difference could be the gap between pocket change and life-changing money. Next, look for signs of a Philadelphia minting, no letter under the date. That's your first clue. Combine that with the weight, and you're in rare territory. And finally, have it tested. Any scale can measure the weight, but only a professional can confirm the metal composition. If you even think your 1993 penny feels different, don't wait. The clock is ticking, because every day that passes, more of these coins are lost forever. Spent at gas stations. Dropped in vending machines. Melted down or forgotten in junk drawers. This isn't just about money. It's about history. A secret stamped in metal. A mistake that became a miracle. And it could be sitting in your home, right now. You don't need to be an expert. You just need curiosity, and the courage to look a little closer. Because fortunes aren't just made on Wall Street. Sometimes, they're made in moments of quiet discovery, when the world slows down and fate puts a penny in your hand. So the next time you see a 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, don't ignore it, weigh it. Check it. Protect it, because this tiny coin could carry the biggest story of your life.
Imagine holding a penny so radiant, so flawlessly preserved, that collectors across the United States are willing to pay thousands of dollars just to own it. Not because it's gold, not because it's rare in quantity, but because of its color, its unmistakable fiery red luster. The 1936 Wheat Lincoln penny with no mint mark may appear ordinary to the untrained eye, but in the hands of a discerning collector, it's a key to unlocking a fortune. Today, we're going deep into the story of one of the most overlooked yet increasingly valuable coins in the Lincoln series. If you think all pennies are just spare change, this video will change that perception forever. The year was 1936. America was still crawling out of the depths of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal was in full swing, and amidst economic rebuilding, the U.S. Mint produced nearly 310 million Lincoln wheat pennies in Philadelphia, identified by the absence of a mint mark. These coins were workhorses of commerce, handed from baker to boy, factory to farmer. Yet among the ocean of copper released that year, a small number managed to escape the wear and tear of circulation. These survivors, preserved in pristine condition with their blazing red copper tone, are now among the most sought-after treasures in the world of numismatics. But what makes the red variant of this penny so unique? The answer lies in chemistry, timing, and care. When freshly minted, every wheat penny starts with a brilliant red-orange sheen due to the high copper content. However, copper oxidizes quickly. Exposure to air, skin oils, and humidity darkens the surface, turning red coins into brown or dull shades over time. The few 1936 Lincoln pennies that retained their original red color were either stored immediately after minting or preserved under strict conditions. These coins did not just survive, they triumphed. Now, here's where things get exciting. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC categorize these red coins as RD, meaning red, indicating full mint brilliance. A 1936 wheat penny graded MS67RD, mint state 67 with full red color, can fetch more than $2,000 at auction. In fact, one such example sold for over $2,300 on heritage auctions. And higher grades like MS67 Plus RD or the ultra-scarce MS68 RD have commanded $5,000 or more, depending on the market and demand. That's a 1,000-fold return on what was once a single cent. Collectors are not just paying for a coin, they're paying for history, scarcity, and undeniable eye appeal. The blazing red tone is more than just a visual delight. It's a badge of rarity. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, fewer than a few hundred examples exist in top red condition today. And every year, that number gets smaller. So how can you tell if your 1936 Lincoln penny is one of these elusive red gems? Look for a fiery copper tone, not dark brown or mixed shades. Examine the fields, the flat areas around Lincoln's bust, for full luster and no signs of wear. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to inspect the finer details. And remember, even a small scratch can drop a coin's value significantly. That's why preservation is everything. Store these coins in acid-free holders or slabs. Avoid touching them directly. Use cotton gloves or hold them by the edges only. Keep them in a climate-controlled environment, away from humidity and sunlight. A properly stored red 1936 penny can remain untouched by time and potentially increase in value with every passing year. The 1936 Wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark is no longer just a relic of the past. It has become an elite prize among seasoned collectors and a serious investment for those who understand its potential. As more people discover the hidden wealth within their coin jars, the demand for high-grade red specimens continues to rise. The market is tightening. The supply is shrinking, and values are only going in one direction, up. So before you overlook another old penny, ask yourself, could you be holding a silent fortune? Because somewhere in America, a 1936 red wheat penny is waiting to be found. And when it is, it could change everything. The collectors across the nation are scrambling to add it to their collections and paying thousands of dollars for the privilege. Today, we are diving into one of the most captivating and valuable coins in American numismatics, the 1937 Wheat Lincoln penny with no mint mark, especially those that reveal a stunning copper shade unlike anything else. If you are a serious coin collector, or even just beginning your journey, this coin demands your attention right now. Why? Because these rare copper-toned pennies are disappearing fast, and those who understand their value are already profiting handsomely. Stay with me, because what you'll learn today could change your collecting game forever. To truly appreciate the 1937 Wheat Lincoln penny, we must first understand the legacy it carries. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat Cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, President Abraham Lincoln, symbolizing the nation's reverence for freedom and unity. The wheat design on the reverse, with its two stalks framing the denomination, stood for agricultural prosperity, a beacon of hope during turbulent times. By 1937, the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression. Coins from this era tell a story of resilience. The 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck exclusively in Philadelphia, the country's oldest mint, which produced some of the finest copper coins of the era. Unlike their counterparts from Denver or San Francisco, these Philadelphia minted pennies were often overlooked, until collectors discovered a rare subset with a distinctive copper coloration that sets them apart from the ordinary. What exactly makes these 1937 pennies stand out? The answer lies in their color. While most wheat pennies age to a dull brown, these rare specimens preserve a rich, deep copper shade that seems almost untouched by time. This copper tone is not just an aesthetic quirk. It is the result of an unusual chemical reaction in the top metal's composition and the coin's storage environment over decades. Factors like low exposure to moisture, lack of contact with harsh chemicals, and proper burial conditions have allowed the copper's natural brilliance to endure. This striking copper hue dramatically enhances the coin's appeal and rarity. Collectors today recognize these coins as more than just currency. They are historical artifacts with an unmistakable glow. This rarity directly translates into high market demand and exceptional value. It's no exaggeration to say that 1937 wheat pennies in this copper shade condition have become a coveted treasure among numismatists, with prices soaring beyond what many might expect for a seemingly common penny. Let's talk numbers, because this is where your curiosity turns into potential investment. Recent auction results and private sales have seen these copper-shaded 1937 pennies fetch prices ranging from several hundred to over $1,000, depending on condition. For example, a near-mint copper-tone 1937 wheat penny recently sold for close to $1,200 at a major coin auction, a stunning figure compared to the typical face value of 1 cent. For collectors eager to find one of these gems, the key is knowing how to identify and preserve them. First, seek out coins with a natural, even copper luster. Avoid anything that looks artificially enhanced or cleaned. Use a magnifying glass to check for sharp details, especially on Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks, which reveal whether the coin has maintained its original strike quality. Preservation is critical. Store these pennies in acid-free holders or capsules, away from humidity and extreme temperatures. Handling them with clean, dry hands or gloves will ensure that their precious copper glow remains intact for years to come. As we draw this exploration to a close, remember that the 1937 Wheat Lincoln penny with no mint mark in its rare copper shade is more than just a coin. It's a beacon for savvy collectors and investors alike. Its historical significance, combined with its extraordinary color and rarity, creates an investment opportunity few other coins can match today. Those who acquire and preserve these pennies wisely are not just holding currency. They are securing a piece of America's heritage that continues to appreciate in value. The market is moving fast, and with more collectors becoming aware of this treasure, the window to add a genuine copper-toned 1937 wheat penny to your collection is narrowing. Don't wait until the opportunity slips through your fingers. This is the coin that defines the perfect blend of history, beauty, and financial promise. Will you be one of the fortunate few to own this rare gem? The choice is yours. But time is running out. The 1940 Wheat Lincoln penny with the coveted S mint mark is not just a coin. It is a portal to history, a testament to craftsmanship, and today, one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics. But what makes these pennies truly extraordinary is not just their age or origin, but a mysterious copper shade that captivates collectors and investors alike. If you have even the slightest interest in coins or smart investments, understanding the allure of this penny could change your financial future, and the window to secure one is narrowing fast. Let's begin by stepping back into 1940, a pivotal year in American history. The world was on the cusp of monumental change, and the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression. During this era, the Lincoln wheat penny was more than currency. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. Minted in San Francisco, the S mint mark on the 1940 penny denotes its origin from one of the most renowned facilities, known for producing coins of exceptional quality. These pennies circulated in a time when every cent mattered, yet many have survived the decades in remarkable condition. Their wheat ears on the reverse, delicate and striking, frame the legacy of a nation determined to move forward. What truly sets the 1940 S wheat penny apart, however, is its distinctive copper coloration. Unlike the standard red or brown pennies, these coins exhibit a stunning, rich copper shade, a rare patina born from a perfect combination of minting materials and environmental factors over the last 80-plus years. This copper tone is not a simple discoloration or wear, but a natural chemical transformation of the copper alloy, often intensified by careful preservation or even the specific atmosphere where the coin was stored. This unique shade makes the penny instantly recognizable to seasoned collectors and dramatically increases its desirability. Owning one in this condition is akin to possessing a piece of art that has matured gracefully through time, untouched by the common corrosion that dulls lesser specimens. The rarity of these copper-shade 1940s pennies cannot be overstated. Unlike pennies that have circulated widely and suffered damage, these well-preserved pieces are few and far between. The market has responded accordingly, with serious collectors willing to pay top dollar to add this coin to their portfolios. Recent auction results have seen pristine examples fetching prices well into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on their grade and copper hue intensity. For investors, this is not just about collecting, it is a strategic acquisition. The scarcity combined with rising interest in historical American coins has created a perfect storm, making these pennies one of the most promising numismatic investments available today. If you're considering acquiring a 1940s wheat penny, in this copper condition, there are key insights you must know. First, authentic copper tone and the S mint mark must be clearly verified, ideally by professional grading services. Beware of altered coins, or those artificially toned to mimic the copper shade. Preservation is paramount. Store your penny in a stable, dry environment, preferably in archival quality holders designed for long-term protection. Avoid cleaning or polishing, as this destroys the natural patina and severely diminishes value. Seasoned collectors emphasize patience and careful handling. These small but powerful actions protect your investment for generations. As we draw this exploration to a close, remember that the 1940 wheat Lincoln penny with the S mint mark and its rare copper shade is more than a relic. It is a dynamic asset, a piece of American heritage that commands respect and offers substantial potential for growth. For collectors who understand its story and rarity, this coin is a beacon of both historical significance and financial opportunity. The market for these pennies is only growing stronger, fueled by a wave of new enthusiasts and seasoned investors alike. The question is not whether to pursue this treasure, but how soon you can secure your place among those who own a piece of this copper-hued legacy before the next wave of demand pushes prices even higher. The time to act is now. 1941, wheat Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Might seem like just another coin at first glance. But what if I told you that hidden beneath its surface lies a treasure that thousands of collectors today are scrambling to own? This is not merely a Relic of the past. It's a rare piece of history glowing in a unique copper shade that commands top dollar. If you're a serious collector or investor, missing out on this could mean passing up an extraordinary opportunity to secure a piece of America's numismatic legacy that's growing more valuable by the day. To truly appreciate the 1941 wheat Lincoln penny, we must journey back to its origins. Minted in the midst of World War II's shadows, 1941 was a pivotal year for America, and every coin produced carries echoes of that era's resilience and hope. The Wheat Penny series, produced from 1909 to 1958, was the nation's humble yet powerful reminder of President Lincoln's enduring legacy. The 1941 no-mint mark pennies were struck exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at that time. This absence itself makes these pennies a direct link to the heart of American coinage history. Unlike their later counterparts, these coins were made with a high-quality copper alloy, a fact that has allowed some specimens to retain an extraordinary, lustrous copper tone that many collectors consider nearly unmatched. What sets the 1941 wheat penny apart is its stunning copper shade, a rich, warm glow that can range from a deep reddish-orange to a more subtle rose-gold hue. This coloration is not accidental. It develops over decades through a natural oxidation process that preserves the coin's original copper surface without turning it dull or corroded. In a world where many old pennies have faded to a lifeless brown or black, discovering a 1941 wheat penny still shimmering in copper brilliance is akin to finding a rare gem among stones. This natural patina, combined with the coin's age and historical significance, creates a magnetic appeal that drives intense competition among collectors. The deeper the copper shade, the more valuable the coin becomes, creating a visual and monetary premium that few other pennies can match. Why are collectors willing to pay so much for these particular pennies? It's simple: scarcity and condition. While millions of 1941 pennies were minted, only a fraction have survived with their copper luster intact. Many were lost to circulation, worn down, or corroded beyond recognition. The ones that remain with this copper hue are a finite resource, treasured because they are tangible connections to an America long past, but never forgotten. In today's market, a well-preserved 1941 wheat penny, without a mint mark, and boasting that rich copper coloration can fetch anywhere from $50 to over $200, depending on the quality and eye appeal. Some coins graded by professional services have even crossed the $300 mark at auctions. These figures are not just numbers. They represent the strong and growing demand driven by collectors who understand that owning such a coin is both a privilege and a smart investment. If you're ready to seek out this gem, there are essential tips every collector must heed. First, authenticity is key. Beware of counterfeits or altered coins trying to mimic that coveted copper sheen. Examine the coin under good light and look for a consistent, natural color that radiates from within rather than a surface that looks artificially enhanced. Preservation is equally crucial. Handle your coins with clean hands or gloves, store them in acid-free holders, and avoid exposure to harsh chemicals or excessive moisture. Maintaining that original copper glow is what will sustain your coin's value in the long run. If you are searching through collections or estate sales, look closely at the 1941 wheat pennies. One in copper shade condition could be a hidden jackpot. In conclusion, the 1941 wheat Lincoln penny, with no mint mark and its exquisite copper shade, is far more than a collectible. It is an enduring investment. It carries the weight of American history and the allure of rarity, wrapped in a glowing copper tone that few coins can rival. For collectors aged 30 to 70, this is a call to action. Securing one today means holding a piece of a legacy whose value will only deepen with time. Those who recognize this coin's true worth are already staking their claim. Will you be among them, or will you watch this opportunity slip quietly into history? The choice and the chance is yours. The moment you hold a 1942 wheat Lincoln penny with no mint mark, especially one glowing in that rare copper shade, you are touching a piece of American history few collectors fully appreciate. But what if I told you that this seemingly modest penny could be one of the most sought-after coins in your collection, that its true value is hidden not just in the date stamped on its face, but in a unique story of metal, war, and survival. A story that only the sharpest and most dedicated collectors uncover. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change the way you see this penny forever, and perhaps even transform your entire collection. The 1942 Wheat Lincoln penny stands at a fascinating crossroads in American numismatics. Minted during the height of World War II, it was part of a series produced when the United States was under immense pressure to conserve critical materials for the war effort. Unlike other years, 1942 pennies were made both with and without mint marks, the latter meaning they were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Yet, what truly sets these pennies apart is their material composition. Most pennies before 1943 were composed primarily of copper, but with the looming war demands, subtle changes began creeping into their makeup. The 1942 penny remains one of the last copper pennies before the brief, famous switch to steel in 1943. This context alone places it firmly at the heart of American history, embodying a period of sacrifice and transformation. What truly sets apart the 1942 no-mint mark wheat penny is its unique copper shade. A vibrant, deep reddish brown that stands out even among other copper pennies. This rich coloration is no accident. It forms through decades of natural oxidation and subtle environmental factors that interact with the penny's copper content. Unlike pennies that have dulled to a flat brown, or worse, those exhibiting this copper shade retain an almost fiery luster, a testament to their well-preserved state and unique chemical makeup. Such a shade tells an unspoken story of careful preservation, of a coin that has avoided harsh cleaning, damage, or corrosion. It is this patina that collectors prize, a living fingerprint of history, preserved in copper. The rarity of these, copper shade, no mint mark 1942. Wheat pennies has created a surge in demand unlike any other coin of its era. While millions were minted, only a fraction have survived with this copper tone intact, undamaged by time or mishandling. Collectors recognize that these pennies are more than currency. They are artifacts of a fleeting moment in history, where the country's resources and hopes were pinned on victory. Because of this, the market has responded with escalating prices, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars for coins in excellent condition. Recent auction sales have seen copper shade 1942 pennies fetch anywhere from $150 to over $500, depending on grade and preservation. This is not mere speculation. It is a market reflecting genuine scarcity and desirability among a growing base of collectors and investors alike. For those who seek to add one of these pennies to their collection, knowing how to identify an authentic copper shade 1942 no mint mark penny is critical. Look for the coin's deep reddish-brown hue, far richer and warmer than common, dull copper pennies. Examine the wheat ears on the reverse side. They should be crisp and well-defined without wear. Avoid coins that have been cleaned aggressively, as this often dulls the natural copper tone and reduces value dramatically. Preservation is key. Store your penny in a cool, dry environment, away from direct sunlight and humidity. Using acid-free holders or coin capsules will protect the coin, while preserving its copper luster for decades to come. These small steps can safeguard a treasure that may appreciate exponentially in value. In conclusion, the 1942 Wheat Lincoln penny, with no mint mark in its rare copper shade, is far more than just a piece of metal. It is a vessel of American resilience, a symbol of wartime sacrifice, and a beacon for discerning collectors who understand the intersection of history and investment. Its rarity and distinctive appearance ensure it will remain in high demand, with values climbing steadily as more collectors recognize its importance. For those wise enough to discover and preserve these pennies now, the future promises not only pride of ownership, but a powerful financial opportunity. This penny is not just history. It is your chance to hold a tangible piece of an extraordinary era, one that could define the next chapter of your collection and your wealth. The question remains, will you let this rare treasure slip through your fingers? The story you are about to hear will change the way you see one of America's most common coins, the 1944 Wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark. What if I told you that tucked inside millions of ordinary pennies lies a rare treasure, one that collectors are racing to find and pay top dollar for? This isn't just any penny. It's a survivor from a critical moment in history, a coin whose rich copper hue sets it apart and whose rarity has made it a silent star in the world of numismatics. But why is this particular 1944 penny commanding such attention and extraordinary prices today? Stay with me, because the truth behind this coin is more fascinating and potentially more rewarding than you could ever imagine. To fully understand the allure of the 1944 Wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark, we must first journey back to the heart of World War II. During this time, copper was a vital resource, heavily rationed for the war effort. From 1943, pennies were made from steel coated with zinc instead of the usual copper to conserve the metal for ammunition and military equipment. However, in 1944, the U.S. Mint resumed the use of copper for pennies, producing them primarily from recycled shell casings that had been fired on the battlefields. This connection to history gives the 1944 pennies an unmatched symbolic value. Most 1944 pennies were struck with a D mint mark from Denver or an S from San Francisco. But the no mint mark variety, struck in Philadelphia, carries a unique story. These coins were minted as the nation transitioned back to copper, yet some survived in a condition that reveals something extraordinary. Unlike the usual bright copper tone of modern pennies, some of these 1944 no mint mark pennies bear a deep, warm copper shade, almost like a rich burnished bronze that seems to glow under the light. This copper coloration is not just aesthetic. It is a direct result of the specific copper alloys used and the coin's exposure over time. Environmental factors like humidity, air composition, and the presence of trace minerals can cause these pennies to develop that striking patina. This natural oxidation process adds layers of character and uniqueness to each coin, making them more than just currency. They become miniature time capsules of mid-century America. What makes these copper-shaded 1944 pennies truly invaluable to collectors is their rarity. While millions were produced, very few have survived in this distinct copper condition without wear or damage. Collectors worldwide understand that owning one is like holding a piece of American history that escaped both the destruction of war and the passage of time intact. This rarity fuels an intense demand. In recent auctions, high-grade examples of the 1944 no mint mark penny with this copper coloration have commanded prices soaring well beyond the typical range of common pennies. Some have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars depending on their condition and the depth of their copper hue. Imagine holding a coin that could fetch anywhere from $200 to $2,000 or more in today's market. That is not just a collectible. It is a true investment opportunity. For collectors ready to seek out this treasure, the key lies in careful identification and preservation. Authentic, 1944. No mint mark pennies will display the classic wheat design on the reverse and the Lincoln profile on the obverse with no mint mark beneath the date. But to spot the prized copper shade, one must look beyond the obvious. Examine the coin under natural light, watching for that warm, almost glowing patina that differentiates it from the more common pale or steel-tinted pennies. Preservation is equally crucial. Avoid harsh cleaning, which can strip away the coin's natural finish and drastically reduce its value. Store these coins in controlled environments, away from moisture and extreme temperature changes, to maintain their unique copper luster. Remember, the story this coin tells is written not just in its metal, but in the subtle colors that time has gifted it. In conclusion, the 1944 Wheat Lincoln penny, without a mint mark, especially those shimmering in their rare copper shade, is far more than a piece of change. It stands as a testament to a pivotal moment in American history and a beacon of opportunity for discerning collectors. As demand grows and fewer pristine specimens surface, These pennies are rapidly evolving into prized assets, combining historical significance with remarkable scarcity. If you have one in your collection, treasure it carefully. If you don't, now is the time to search and secure what could be your most valuable numismatic find yet. The copper mystery of the 1944 no-mint mark penny is not just a collector's dream. It is a call to action. Don't let this chance slip away. 1945. Wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark, especially those with a distinctive copper shade, holds a magnetic allure for serious coin collectors across the United States. If you own one or think you might come across one, this is a moment that could redefine your collecting journey, but only if you recognize its true worth before the market surges even higher. Today, we dive deep into this extraordinary piece of numismatic history, unraveling why this seemingly humble penny has become one of the most coveted treasures among discerning collectors. Prepare to discover what makes the 1945 wheat penny not just a coin, but a powerful investment opportunity that demands your attention now. The story of the 1945 wheat Lincoln penny begins in the final throes of World War II, a time when the United States was emerging victorious yet still deeply entrenched in economic and industrial challenges. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become a staple in American currency. By 1945, these pennies were produced under the strains of wartime resource allocation, which affected the metals used in coinage. Typically, pennies of this era were made primarily of copper, but the aftermath of war and fluctuations in metal supply caused subtle variations in composition and color. Among these variations, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, occasionally exhibits a remarkable copper shade that immediately catches the eye. This rich, warm copper hue is not just a quirk of aging, but a direct result of the coin's metal content and the environmental conditions it has endured. Unlike the more common red or brown patinas seen on older pennies, these coins maintain a vivid copper tone that suggests a near-pristine preservation state. This unique appearance arises from the balance of copper and trace metals in the alloy, combined with careful storage and minimal exposure to corrosive elements over the decades. The copper color is a badge of authenticity and rarity, signaling a coin that has defied time with remarkable grace. But what truly elevates the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark into the realm of high-value collectibles is its rarity and demand. Although millions were minted, finding one in this copper shade condition is exceedingly uncommon. Most pennies from this year have succumbed to circulation wear or environmental damage, stripping away their original luster. Collectors today are willing to pay a premium because these coins represent a tangible link to an iconic period in American history, preserved in a condition that few can boast. This scarcity, coupled with the coin's visual appeal and historical significance, has created a robust market where values are climbing steadily. To give you a clear sense of its worth, recent auction results and dealer listings show that a 1945 wheat penny in this copper shade can command prices well beyond standard circulated pennies. While average 1945 pennies might trade for a few dollars, those with exceptional color and condition are fetching anywhere from $100 to $300 or more, depending on grading and provenance. In some rare cases, specimens verified by professional grading services have sold for over $500, a testament to the intense collector interest and the coin's investment potential. The market for these pennies is not static. It continues to grow as new collectors enter the space, driven by nostalgia, historical reverence, and the undeniable allure of owning a piece of American heritage that shines literally and figuratively. 4. Collectors seeking to add a 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark to their portfolio or preserve one they already own, vigilance and care are paramount. Identifying these coins starts with careful examination under proper lighting to distinguish the copper shade from more common brown or red varieties. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's profile, clear wheat ears on the reverse, and a surface that has not been artificially altered or cleaned. Preservation tips include storing the penny in acid-free holders, avoiding exposure to moisture, and keeping it away from direct sunlight to maintain that rare copper brilliance. Handling with gloves is advisable to prevent oils from damaging the coin's surface. These practices will protect your investment and ensure that the coin retains both its visual appeal and its market value. As we conclude, the 1945 Wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark in its unique copper shade emerges as far more than a mere piece of currency. It stands as a testament to American resilience, wartime history, and numismatic artistry. Its rarity and demand have propelled it into the spotlight as a prized asset for collectors who understand its potential to appreciate in value. This coin embodies an investment that combines historical significance with tangible beauty, offering not just financial reward, but a connection to the legacy of a nation. If you have one in your collection, now is the time to recognize its true power, because opportunities like this do not wait. The question remains, will you be the collector who seizes this chance before the market closes? We're diving deep into one of the most sought-after treasures among American numismatists, the 1946 Wheat Lincoln penny, the ones without a mint mark, those rare specimens glowing with an unmistakable copper shade. If you own one or are searching for it, listen closely. Because what you're about to learn could transform a humble penny into a remarkable investment. The year 1946 was a turning point for America. The world had just emerged from the shadows of World War II, and the nation was rebuilding with hope and resilience. Lincoln wheat pennies, minted from 1909 to 1958, had long been a symbol of everyday American life, but the 1946 no mint mark variety holds a unique place in that legacy. Produced exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint, these pennies were struck in the post-war era when the demand for copper was high, yet the coinage still retained the classic warmth and character of pure copper. But not all pennies are created equal. Among these 1946 pennies, some stand out because of their unusual copper shade, a rich, almost glowing hue that sets them apart from the typical dull or brown pennies we often see. This distinctive copper tone is more than just a surface feature. It is the result of subtle variations in the metal composition and the striking process during that post-war period. Over time, environmental factors and the chemistry of the copper alloy cause these pennies to develop a patina that collectors describe as alive, a vibrant copper color that seems to pulse with history. This natural coloration is incredibly rare, making these pennies far more than just pocket change. They are pieces of art formed by time and chemistry, with a story etched into every curve and contour. The rarity of the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark in this copper shade cannot be overstated. In today's market, collectors are fiercely competing to acquire them, driving their value to impressive heights. While common pennies from the era might trade for just a few cents or $1, these copper-shaded beauties command prices that can reach hundreds of dollars, sometimes even surpassing the $1,000 mark when found in pristine condition. In recent auctions and private sales, specimens have been known to fetch between $150 to over $1,000, depending on their condition and vibrancy of color. This is not a fleeting trend. It's a sustained surge in demand, fueled by the scarcity and undeniable allure of these coins. For collectors who want to identify these treasures, the key is to look beyond the surface. The 1946 penny without a mint mark will have the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side and the classic Lincoln profile on the obverse, but the defining characteristic is the color, a deep, rich copper, not the usual faded brown. Authenticity is crucial, so be wary of artificially toned coins. Genuine copper shade pennies will show consistent color and texture throughout, with no signs of chemical treatment or paint. Preservation is equally important. These coins should be stored in a cool, dry environment, preferably in protective holders that prevent oxidation and scratches. Avoid cleaning them, as that diminishes their value and removes the natural patina collector's prize. As you reflect on the 1946 wheat Lincoln penny without a mint mark, especially those glowing with that rare copper shade, consider the story it tells, a story of America's post-war hope, of craftsmanship, and of nature's subtle hand-shaping history. This penny is not just a relic, it is a tangible investment, a symbol of enduring value that grows more precious with time. For those who recognize its worth, the opportunity to own one today is a chance to connect with history and secure a rare asset in an ever-changing market. In a world where collectibles come and go, this particular penny stands as a beacon for discerning collectors. Its unique beauty, scarcity, and steadily rising value make it not just a piece of currency, but a legacy. Don't let this chance slip away. The 1946 wheat Lincoln penny, with no mint mark in that extraordinary copper shade, is more than a coin, it's a treasure waiting to be claimed. 1957, wheat Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. There's a quiet storm brewing among serious coin collectors, and if you don't know about this particular treasure, you risk missing out on a rare opportunity that could redefine your collection. This isn't just any old penny. It's a symbol of American history, wrapped in a captivating copper tone that has experts and investors alike scrambling to get their hands on the best specimens. But what exactly makes this penny so special? And why is its unique copper shade driving prices to unprecedented heights? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1957 D wheat penny is not only a coveted collectible, but also a potentially powerful asset in today's market. Let's journey back to 1957, a year that marked one of the final chapters in the era of the wheat Lincoln penny. Minted in Denver, this penny was struck at a time when America was still transitioning from the austere post-war period into an age of prosperity. The coin itself carries the familiar design that has become an icon. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, a tribute to the nation's enduring ideals. On the reverse, the wheat ears symbolize growth and plenty. But unlike the earlier pennies, 1957 marked the penultimate year of the wheat penny's production, which would end completely in 1958. This makes every 1957 wheat penny a piece of fading history, a physical link to a time when the smallest coin in circulation held immense symbolic weight. What truly sets the 1957 D apart, however, is its color. Most pennies have faded into the usual brown or reddish tones we expect, but some of these coins have developed a striking copper shade that collectors call original copper red. This radiant copper appearance is not merely aesthetic, it's a sign that the penny has survived decades without the surface oxidation that dulls most coins. This rich copper color develops only under very specific conditions: minimal exposure to moisture, pollutants, and handling. When a 1957 D penny retains this original copper red patina, it reveals a coin that has been exceptionally well preserved, making it stand out in a sea of ordinary pennies. This unique hue acts like a signature of rarity, drawing in collectors, who understand that such coins are exceedingly difficult to find today. The rarity of these vividly copper-shaded 1957 D wheat pennies cannot be overstated. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction have survived in this near-original condition. This scarcity has led to a surge in demand, pushing market values sharply upward. Serious collectors and investors recognize that these pennies are no longer mere currency. They are rare artifacts with increasing appeal as both collectibles and potential stores of value. Recent auction results have stunned the market, with some pristine copper-red 1957 D pennies fetching prices ranging from $150 to over $400 depending on their condition and grade. These numbers reflect a growing trend, where coin enthusiasts are willing to pay premiums for coins that offer both historical significance and exceptional preservation. For collectors eager to join this wave, identifying and preserving these coins is crucial. The first step is to carefully examine the coin's color under good lighting. True copper-red pennies exhibit a deep, lustrous shine that does not easily scrape off or fade when gently rubbed. Look closely at the edges and the fields around. Lincoln's profile. Original copper red coins will show a consistent tone throughout. Preservation is equally important. Avoid cleaning or polishing these coins, as this can destroy the delicate surface and significantly reduce value. Instead, store them in protective holders that minimize exposure to air and humidity. Keeping your 1957 D pennies in ideal conditions will not only maintain their beauty, but also enhance their future worth. In conclusion, the 1957 Wheat Lincoln penny with the D mint mark in copper red condition represents more than just a collectible. It embodies a rare investment opportunity that savvy collectors cannot afford to ignore. Its compelling history, distinct copper appearance, and growing market value position it as one of the most desirable coins available today. As the number of these well-preserved pennies dwindles, their value and significance will only continue to rise. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a newcomer to numismatics, the 1957 D wheat penny offers a powerful blend of heritage and financial promise that deserves your immediate attention. Will you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, or will you secure a piece of American history that could enrich your collection and your future? The choice is yours. 1958. Wheat Lincoln penny with the D mint mark is quietly commanding intense attention from collectors across the United States, and if you don't already own one, or at least know the secrets it holds, you could be missing out on one of the most coveted treasures in American numismatics today. This isn't just another penny. It's a remarkable piece of history that carries a story few truly understand. But what makes this humble coin, especially those in the rare copper shade condition, so valuable and sought after? Stay with me as we unravel the mystery behind its allure, a tale that could change how you see your coin collection forever. The story of the 1958 wheat penny begins in a post-war America, where coins were more than just currency. They were symbols of a recovering nation's pride and resilience. Struck at the Denver Mint, the 1958 D penny continued the long-standing tradition of the Lincoln wheat cent, a design that had graced American hands since 1909. While millions were produced that year, very few have survived in the condition that makes them today's most prized possessions. The wheat ears on the reverse and the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse connect us to a simpler, yet significant, era of American history. However, the coin's physical appearance is where its real intrigue lies. What truly sets the 1958 D wheat penny apart is the stunning copper shade that some specimens exhibit, a rich, deep hue far beyond the ordinary reddish-brown tone common in circulated coins. This unique copper coloration is not accidental, but the result of an exceptional chemical and environmental journey. Over decades, these pennies have undergone subtle oxidation and toning processes that have preserved their surface in a way that collectors describe as almost glowing with a fiery brilliance. The natural patina gives the coin a depth and vibrancy that few other pennies can rival. It's as if time itself has painted each coin with a brushstroke of rarity, creating a visual masterpiece that captures the eye and ignites passion among seasoned numismatists. This rarity isn't just aesthetic. It's deeply rooted in scarcity and condition. The 1958 D wheat penny in this copper shade condition is extraordinarily uncommon, especially when found with minimal wear and sharp details. Today's collectors recognize this scarcity and have driven its value far beyond its face value. Coins once tucked away in dusty drawers or forgotten in old collections have suddenly transformed into prized assets. Recent sales reveal staggering numbers. High-grade 1958 D wheat pennies with this distinctive copper hue have fetched anywhere from several hundred to over $1,000 at auctions. The market is clear. These pennies are no longer mere currency, but a form of investment that promises appreciation as more collectors seek them out. For those who want to embark on their own journey of collecting this remarkable coin, the key lies in sharp observation and diligent care. Identifying an authentic 1958 D wheat penny with this copper shade requires examining the mint mark carefully and appreciating the unique surface coloration that sets it apart. Avoid cleaning or harsh handling as the natural toning that enhances the coin's value can be damaged or stripped away, diminishing its worth dramatically. Storage in controlled environments and the use of protective holders will preserve the coin's lustrous copper glow for decades to come, securing not just a collector's pride, but also a future asset. In conclusion, the 1958 Wheat Lincoln penny, with the D-mint mark and its rare copper shade condition, is much more than a collectible. It is a beacon of history, artistry, and investment potential. Its scarcity, combined with an extraordinary visual appeal, has placed it at the forefront of today's coin market, transforming ordinary pennies into prized treasures that command respect and substantial value. For every serious collector or investor watching this, the opportunity to own a piece of this legacy is both urgent and compelling. The moment to recognize its worth and secure your place in this exclusive circle is now, because as the demand grows, these shining copper wonders will become even rarer and more valuable. Are you ready to add one to your collection before it's too late?